the notion of, this huge task of changing the world, this huge task of teaching people how to love, teaching people peace, you know, it's impossible. And I don't like using that word at all. But in this instance, I'll use it because I genuinely, genuinely believe it is not our place or our position. And we will never have the power as humans to change the world or teach somebody how to love or teach somebody peace. Here's the beauty, and this is why I believe in God so much, is our power as humans, our position is the ability to teach people how to remember those things because we were given those things by God. So for us to take the position of we have to teach somebody love, we've already failed. We've already misstepped towards the beauty that's already here.
Mm.
So I take that approach with clothing. I take that approach with music, anything that I do, even in conversation. But that's the scariest thing to me. Conversation, even though I love it the most out of all creation, it's the scariest thing to me because that's like where true vulnerability, and there's no way to edit a conversation in real time unless you say I'm sorry,
Mm.
right? But if I meant that shit, I don't want to say I'm sorry. So it's like to take the approach of just, okay, I'm not going to teach somebody how to love. I'm going to help them remember because they're already coded like that. It's freed up my mind
Mm.
to there is no structure to a t-shirt because it doesn't exist
Mm.
without somebody creating that structure. There's no structure to a song. Like Call Home moves me so much as well. It's one of the first songs I ever expressed, and it's completely on the iPhone. Like I sent that
Mm.
shit to a mixing engineer today, and he's just like, "Okay, I'll turn up the master track. That's all I can do." But that's all I wanted him to do because the beauty is already, it's like oozing out the pores of that song,
So it's coming out?
right? Oh yeah, it's coming out December 24th. This, God willing, this month, December 24th. It's on a project. The project's called Sensitive Being, Senseless World.
Mm.
So God willing, on the 24th of this month, you'll have 4 songs from Brother. Okay. So I have this song on Child. It's the second to last song called Play. And one of the last lines on it, I say, "My mama found my poems in my MV Touch." Right? So that's the first phone I had when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
And so I was just writing poems, and then I was singing, trying to sing, and I wish I had this phone, man, just to hear what I was coming up with. But I remember I was mortified because my mom found this phone, and her and my sister listened to me singing right in front of me, and they weren't being mean about it. They were like, they really loved it, right? But I was still mortified because I didn't imagine anybody listening to this, what I was doing in the phone.
Mm.
Um, but even before that, clothing specifically, I grew up playing baseball. And so my favorite player when I was 5 years old, when I realized what was going on the TV, was Derek Jeter.
Mm.
Um, and it sounds silly, but it's the truth. Like the way his uniform laid on him every single time he stepped out onto the field, it just, the proportions. I remember being young and thinking like, wow, that looks perfect.
Mm.
His jersey draping off his shoulder just looks so beautiful. I love the way his pants laid over his shoes. Like you can tell he put time into what he was doing.
Mm.
And he's one of the most known baseball players ever, right? And so I remember being captivated by him. And then music wise, or just the person in the world as a kid that I resonated with so much more than anybody was Michael Jackson.
Mm.
And the reason why, it's like I tell people to this day, and I have to clarify because what I wanted to be before, when you ask somebody as a kid, what do you want to be? Astronaut, all of it, firefighter. I would reply, I want to be Michael Jackson because because I didn't compute that he was the biggest star in the world. I didn't compute the pop star Michael Jackson. I just remember the feeling that he gave me on TV and through his music, and all of the parents around me loved him so much. All the kids around me loved him so much. I felt like, whoa, you can just be a kid. your whole life and people will love you the way that they love this guy, then I'll just be that. I just want to be Michael Jackson,
Mm.
you know? So those are the two people that I resonated with, you know, clothing and music and just as a vision of what I would like my life to be. Um, but yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay, from the MV Touch, I was 11 years old. My
Mm.
sister is 2 years older than I am. Okay. And she is, if I have any idol who is a human, it's her. And I've been that way since the start. Like she has been my idol, right? And this is why. She put me on like in the same song, or no, a song on Child, I say thank you for showing me Kanye, right? Because she like was 2 years older than I am. So in the car, you know, we had because my mom she owned this dry cleaning business, like a mobile dry cleaning. So she would like take us to go pick up people's clothes in big ass buildings, and we'd have their clothes in the car. But she would be in the buildings for a while, so we would turn on like the Juvenile songs, the fucking Yin Yang Twins. Like we would turn up,
Mm.
right? And my mom was cool in that sense as well. Like she didn't really trip on foul language. She kind of just let it rock. But we would turn up a little extra when she got out the car. But my sister, she showed me Lupe Fiasco. She showed me 50 Cent. She showed me Kanye and all this beautiful music. Um, and so I didn't get inspired by the music. I got inspired by her because I just remember this girl, she's like Sade and Cobain, right? To me, my sister. She's like such the most complex, beautiful human I've ever met, right? And I lived right next to her for 17 years. Um, but her and my mom were going to the Kanye concert, Glow in the Dark. Okay, so this is around the same time I got the MV Touch, right? Maybe I went to the concert right before I got the MV Touch because I got the MV Touch December 24th, 2008, maybe.
Mm.
But so Ye was on tour, I think in 2008 as well, but in that summer. So my sister and my mom were going to the Glow in the Dark concert. And my sister, because she's a G, she like on the way to the concert, she said, "Brother needs to come. Like, why is the brother not coming?" So my mom called my dad, and my dad drove me up to the arena, got me a ticket. We were in there, right? Okay, so she advocated for me to go, and my mom. Okay, so I'm at the arena now, right? Everything it worked out. I'm there. I'm at the concert. Okay, and this is the first time post imagination world as a kid, you know, because we're as kids, we're magic exists. We're talking to our imaginary friend. We're building worlds within the bubbles of the bathtub, right?
Mm.
So this is like post being out of that space as a child. I'm like 10 years old, right?
Mm.
And this is the first time I'm reminded of magic. And the moment that brought me back to the magic was, you know, Ye on the Glow in the Dark tour, he had the LED and he needed the energy from the music and the crowd to fuel his spaceship to go back to where he's from, right?
Mm.
So I remember, bro, like the moment that brought me back to magic, and you know, this is a grown person on stage who like is demonstrating magic as a kid. I felt like was the spaceship saying "Wake up, Mr. West," and then that "Good Morning" beat comes in. You know what I mean? And then the harmonies come in, and my life was forever changed. Of wow, this is real life magic. This is beauty. My heart feels energized again, like a child. Right? That fueled me to I had no idea what it is that I was going to create, but I had all the confidence and all the belief of that's what I want. It was beautiful, right?
Mm.
But I just music, whatever it may be. That's it.
Mm. That's beautiful. We caught like moments of lag in that. Most of it got through, but the just to run it back. So your sister brings you to this tour. Your sister who you look up to and you're jamming out with, and you see
Mhm.
magic. You basically, as a young kid, you're seeing a grown person do something that's like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was an option. And you feel like that was kind of what is the first like thing that ignited that magic with you uh, from the external world.
Reignited,
Because, yeah,
reignited.
it's already there, but then it gets
Yeah,
covered and beaten and filtered, you know?
yeah. Because we were all doing the same thing that he was doing on stage in the sandbox. You know what I mean? We were already expressing that feeling.
Mm,
But exactly how you just worded it, that's beat down, and that's, the bell rings at 8 a.m. and then it rings again at 9:30 and then it rings again at 11:30 and then you have lunch. It rings and rings and rings and then all of a sudden magic is gone.
yeah.
Fuck the sandbox, like that bell, like the moment where we start in the sandbox looking at our imaginary watches, like fuck, that bell's gonna ring. The magic's gone, right? So Ye reignited that magic of like, oh, there is no bell, and where there is no bell, the bell does not exist. So that me, I want to give to other people.
That's beautiful. And wow, yeah, I like where this is at. I like where we have the full story from the envy touch onwards. Um,
The envy touch.
so what do you feel like is the next checkpoint in your creative career from there?
Releasing everything, releasing, getting used to the feeling of just releasing.
Mm,
That is it. That like there's no expectation, there's no want for more. I just have to get to the space of releasing because again, I will for sure never give beauty if I don't release anything.
yeah,
So
what do you feel like
it's
the barriers are for you?
um okay, specifically with the album Child, right? It's almost exactly a year ago that Liam and I uh expressed this album, right? And the feeling of expressing it was so beautiful. And the first 10 people we showed it to in person, by the grace of God, all of this is beyond us. Like we received a few people crying. We received a few people like really being vulnerable and showing us love of what we were able to achieve in this creation process. And again, none of that is us. It's just the time and place we were in. It was just the beauty that we captured and we gave. So the feeling was already there, right? And then, we linked up with, this my manager who currently manages me, who's such a beautiful, great friend, and he believes in me so much. I've been introduced to him by people that I've sought out because I've been told, we need the mixes to sound a little bit more clear, or we need it just needs to be polished and all these things. And I don't disagree, and I don't think it's uh, bad intentions that I'm being told these things. It's just their opinion, it's their perspective. Um, but there's something about the feeling, like the clothes, the freeness of the clothes that I want to not taint at all. I don't want to, take any of that away. So to answer your question, what is preventing that is my own head of, well, fuck, I don't want to not turn over every stone. Like I want to express this fully, but at some point, if the feeling's there and it's there every time you hear the song, or every time you look at the shirt, or every time you whatever it is that you create, if the feeling's there, then there's nothing else to be done, you know.
Hmm.
So that I hope that answers your question. I've just been in my own way a little bit of, making sure that I'm being respectful in the creative process, giving the time and attention to the approach of how to release it. But that's why I'm doing this project now, releasing it on the 20th. Again, negative feeling towards it. I just want this is something that we created. It's beautiful. Here.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it's interesting because there's like a fire in me about how Call Home was unreleased. That was a big part of it. It's like
Mhm.
I have this thing that's like so, amazing, and it's just in my phone, and I just have it. Like that's part of why I was like, I just need to put stuff out. Like, do I have stuff like this on my phone that can change people's
Mhm.
lives? Like, fucking
Yeah,
get
you
it
do.
out, dude. Who cares about judgment?
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, the judgment thing.
but you got
I'm
to
glad you
be.
said that because
Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's a pivotal part of our way of being, because I don't think we're coded to judge, but it's a way of being that we've established, right? I think there's there's positive and negative in judgment, but in this project, the second song, it's about my brother Sebastian,
Mm,
and he's so beautiful and so talented, and that whole energy of what we've made together, all of us in that space, it's what fuels me to this day, right? And if I am my brother's keeper, then it's vice versa. My brother's my keeper. And so I'm judgmental. He's judgmental. Sam Tree is judgmental. We're all judgmental, but I like using uh, comedy in a lot of the expressions that I give. So in this song, I say, "Why we all judge so much? Your name Judy, like Judge Judy." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be so heavy. Because I'm calling it judgmental, but it's I don't want you to take that on the chin and fucking feel bad about it. Don't feel bad about it. Because me too. You know. And
Yeah.
so, but judgment's going to be there for the rest of ever, I believe. And then depending on what you believe in, the ultimate judgment, you know, of that day that we're out of this place. And yeah, maybe we'll wait to get to that, but that just leads me to what I'm fueled by in everything that I do is you know God and Jesus specifically. Um, so yeah, if we really want to get down to judgment, we are going to be judged, but we should probably not put too much emphasis on the world judgment.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
how, like, it's so easy. I tend to do this, like, ascribe the judgment to be evil or like the devil. And we were just talking before stream about how I'm inspired by like the negative forces I see in the world. And you kind of evolved it into it's not good versus evil. We're all different colors in the spectrum, and we
Yeah.
need to exist like harmoniously. So in that sense, even like, for me, it's like if someone's judging me and I view that as the devil is still a fallen angel. The devil still works for God. Um, and yeah, that's really interesting because I do think the only barrier for us to put stuff out is our judgment of ourselves.
Yeah.
Nothing else can get through unless we can get past that.
Yeah. That's the oh man, that's really the and excuse my language, that's like the biggest mind fuck of all time of we're worried about judgment and we're actually I feel like a lot of us, I'll just say me specifically. I portray that I'm worried about judgment from others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that. I'm worried about the judgment of me
Mm-hmm.
because when I go to sleep, I'm just judging me. Whether or not I'm playing back conversations that I've had with people that day or 30 years ago, I'm not that old, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'll literally remember out of the blue conversation I had when I was 15 years old that like, oh, that hurts a little bit, right?
Mm.
But it's still, even though there's people in the dream, it's still just you. I'm just judging me and you're just judging you,
Mm.
because if somebody doesn't like your outfit and they express that to you, okay, they're passing judgment on your outfit. But if you go back and lay down that night and you're thinking about, damn, they didn't like my outfit, it's not them that you're really thinking about. You don't like your outfit. Obviously, you don't like your outfit enough, or you don't like yourself enough because you're worried about other people's judgment on you. But it's actually not that.
Yeah.
We are the judges.
Yeah. And that's where the story of Jesus obviously comes to mind of if you leave it up to, us earthly minds to judge, we would kill a perfect person. So it's
Mm.
like I started saying to myself, if I don't want to call anyone out by name, but there's certain people in my life who in 2019 would be like, clothes are way too baggy. And, that was before the baggy jeans wave. And I was like, after everything played out, I was like, wait, if he liked my outfit, then it would have been a bad outfit, like factually.
It'd have been a bad outfit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, so it's like we got to take that with grace. Uh, but yeah, it's really interesting that judgment of self.
mm.
So I want to get into, or real quick, can we do a fit check? How much your fit costs? Can you show us the screenshot?
This is the OG SONE t-shirt that I wear often. I got on some gray Walmart sweats, and then I got on these Amazon. Shout out JB.
Fire.
You know what I mean? So the outfit in total, I do have on some LA Apparel socks. I think they're the best socks on earth. Those are probably the most expensive things I have on my body. I got this at Goodwill for $5.
Yeah.
Oh, and these Alette got me these for Christmas 2 years ago. They changed my life.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What were
Hmm.
you rocking with before?
I don't even think I had headphones, bro. But I say that because I recorded all the music with these right here.
Bro, one day we're gonna get you on stream and we're gonna get that NFT touch. And we're gonna make a song on that.
We gotta get that V touch. Yeah.
So
Oh, and then my mother bought me this cross. I think it's so beautiful. It's this lady out in Texas where we live. She makes these.
wow.
It's such a beautiful shape. But yeah, this is actually the most expensive thing. I think this was $50 on my body, and then what I let you know this gift. But the clothing is probably a total of 33 dollars.
Sheesh. Keep up. Keep up, everybody.
Keep up.
You're not spending like this.
Yeah, you're really not. Really not.
So, you said that was a piece you made with SONE, one of the early SONE
Yeah.
EPs. Tell the tree world about SONE.
Yeah, so SONE, was an iteration of exactly what we were doing at Yeezy in 2023, right? And it's just a further expression of that specific time, right? So I give all the credit in the world and the appreciation for that perspective changing time in my life because I had no technical ability in fashion or design at all. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't study it. I love Margiela like we all do, but that's the extent, right?
Did
That
you
was the
love
extent of
Margiela
my.
before you were doing all this? Like while you're a
Oh,
baseball?
I love Margiela. I love Margiela as a kid. Yeah, like
Wow.
I love Margiela, right? But that's like saying you love peanut butter and jelly. Like who doesn't? You know what I mean? It's or you like I don't know.
No, that's
Whatever
more
is such
nuanced
a.
though. That's like the peanut butter and marshmallow sandwich. Like that's you're on
I
game
feel
with that
that.
one.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. But like to not like Margiela, something's off kilter, right? I'll judge you on that. But um, yeah, like I had no technical ability. There was no rhyme or reason other than it was a perfect place and time for this expression to happen because, again, bringing my sister she has been my idol in my life. She carried a notebook with designs when she was 12 years old in her backpack,
Wow.
right? She had the freshest clothes. And we moved to a school when we were young that we had to wear uniforms. And I asked her if I could wear her tight ass bell bottom uniform pants because I wasn't fucking with the shorts that all of the guys had to wear, right?
Yeah.
So I wore them to school and I got just aired out, right? I got aired out, but I didn't even care because I was thinking to myself, well, similar to your story, like if you guys like my outfit today, it's a bad outfit, right? Um, but to get back on track,
So you were on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, young brother, mixing up the uniform. I
Fresh Prince of
love
Bel
that,
Air,
bro.
bro. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, she was designing, in her mind, in her 12-year-old way, she was designing clothes and shit. I didn't know, but I just remember seeing as a kid, like, damn, she really has a notebook full of designs and shit. Um, but that led me, when I was 12, 13, because I was so rebellious in the way of like, I definitely am not fucking with these uniforms. So
Hmm.
I would crop my uniform t-shirt, right? I would wear her pants and shit. It was very childlike. There was no design to it. It was just I thought it looked better. It felt better like that, right? So I've been cropping my t-shirts for since I was a kid. And then, fast forward, I'm in this spot, this place in time with the biggest. What I'm not gonna say it's a brand because it's so much. It's way more vast than that. It's like the biggest cultivation or the biggest, opening of the universe of creation, in my opinion, at that point in time. And Yeezy, to be specific, is what I'm saying. And it was like I couldn't have been more perfect of somebody to bounce ideas off of with him because I had no technical ability. Therefore, I had no reason to tell him no on his ideas because a lot of the designers who are very skilled and very technical and like top of the class at what they do, some of the ideas he had were so childlike and so free and so matrix breaking that they would be like, okay, but at Parsons or whatever school I went to or whatever house I was just working at, like, nah, that's not gonna work. Like, you need a hem, you need that's gonna rip, that will fall apart, that will deteriorate. People aren't gonna want to buy that. And I was so naive in a way, like a child, where he would give me a task and I would not say no because I had no other information. I had no
Mm.
way, I had no experience to say, well, no, that doesn't work. I never tried it, so let's do it. Let's run it. It ended up being the expression that he ultimately, you know, came to the conclusion of in that time, and we parted ways for a little bit. Then we came back to fully release that expression, and there was more additives at that point, the gosha and the print and all that. I was not a part of that experience. Um,
And how did you
but
first
yeah,
get there?
so Liam, I was living in Texas at the time in
Mm.
2023. This was May 2023. I was living in Texas. I was coaching baseball, kids, high school kids.
Mm.
And man, I remember I was feeling so good. Like I was cut, I was healthy, I was tan as fuck, and I just felt good for a second. My physical health, my mental health was really, really is very beautiful at the time. And Liam called me when I was sitting on the field, and I answered his call, and he was like, "Yo, LA Apparel and Yeezy are doing an internship, and my boy works for LA Apparel. He thinks he could get us an interview with Dove." I didn't even know who Dove was,
Mm.
and so I I thought about it for like 30 seconds, if that, Sam, and I said to him, man, I'm good, bro. Like I feel really good right now. I don't really want to do the whole LA thing. I love you. I believe in Liam. Liam is my best friend, and so I just told him I love him, and yo, I'll call you later. I didn't call him. He ended up calling me that night,
Mm.
and he just, reiterated, and he said, "Man, I really feel like you should give this a thought. Like, I think we should really do this." And Liam, he's so peaceful, and he's not timid. He's just very like he doesn't do that. He doesn't try to push me at all. He doesn't try to. So when he did that, when he reiterated himself, it took me back a little bit. I thought, okay, well, this is big of him to be doing to me, so I'll give it a thought. I ended up calling my mother, and I asked her, like, what do you think I should do? And she said, brother, I think that you should do it. All right, done deal. So I bought a flight to LA, and I was so naive in a way, like a child, where he would give me a task, and I would not say no because I had no other information. I had no
Mm.
way, I had no experience to say, well, no, that doesn't work. I never tried it, so let's do it. Let's run it. So, Liam, I was living in Texas at the time in
Mm.
2023. This was May 2023. I was living in Texas. I was coaching baseball, kids, high school kids.
Mm.
And man, I remember I was feeling so good. Like I was cut, I was healthy, I was tan as fuck, and I just felt good for a second. My physical health, my mental health was really, really is very beautiful at the time. And Liam called me when I was sitting on the field, and I answered his call, and he was like, "Yo, LA Apparel and Yeezy are doing an internship, and my boy works for LA Apparel. He thinks he could get us an interview with Dove." I didn't even know who Dove was,
Mm.
and so I I thought about it for like 30 seconds, if that, Sam, and I said to him, man, I'm good, bro. Like I feel really good right now. I don't really want to do the whole LA thing. I love you. I believe in Liam. Liam is my best friend, and so I just told him I love him, and yo, I'll call you later. I didn't call him. He ended up calling me that night,
Mm.
and he just, reiterated, and he said, "Man, I really feel like you should give this a thought. Like, I think we should really do this." And Liam, he's so peaceful, and he's not timid. He's just very like he doesn't do that. He doesn't try to push me at all. He doesn't try to. So when he did that, when he reiterated himself, it took me back a little bit. I thought, okay, well, this is big of him to be doing to me, so I'll give it a thought. I ended up calling my mother, and I asked her, like, what do you think I should do? And she said, brother, I think that you should do it. All right, done deal. So I bought a flight to LA next day, one way. Liam picked me up in LA. That day, we met Dove at his factory because he was throwing an event, um, just a sale for the clothing at LA Apparel, and he's just rolling around on his bike and shit. I had no idea who he was. Um, and our Liam's boy who worked at LA Apparel, he introduced us to Dove. Dove, it was so interesting. He just looked at us for like 10 seconds and he said, "Okay, we'll come back on Sunday. We can talk." Pulled up on Sunday. I had the most interesting interaction with Dove in his office of like, he's such a brilliant and lunatic in the most beautiful way where like, he owns this factory and I didn't know at the time, but I've partied at his house in Silver Lake. It's a McMansion, right?
Mm.
But he's not there because he's so wrapped into creation. He's laying on a twin size mattress in his office. That's where he sleeps and shit. He has all of his
Wow.
clothes, all of his creations around him. Like he's Steve Jobs the fuck out, right? And he like has the mansion, but he stayed in the garage. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You feel me? Like
Yeah.
he stayed Amazon books when he has Amazon, the fucking conglomerate now. So I felt like, wow, that's a really fresh. And he drives like this little Honda or Nissan from Japan. He's just like a beautiful character. But anyways, he interviewed us, and he was like, I remember it was so funny. He's like, like he's gonna fire you guys, talking about Ye. And I'm just like, cool, man. I've been fired from jobs before. Like I'm not really tripping on that. Um, so then we got invited back on Monday. We did the interview on Sunday. We got invited back on Monday. And it's so funny. Liam and I, we painted our ears. We painted our ears blue and red. And I remember Dove
Wow.
looked like before we got to go upstairs in Ye's studio, Dove looked at us like, "You motherfuckers look stupid. Go wash that shit off," right? But it's so funny because fast forward, he would have fucked with it, right? But Dove was like, "Yo, he's gonna fire you guys if he sees that shit."
We last
So
heard
that
you showed up with
the
the
conclusion
ears.
to that, yeah, we showed up with the ears. Dove was like, "You guys are fucking idiots. Clean that shit off," right? Fast forward, it's so funny now because fast forward like 6 months when I'm in Italy with Ye and shit, I'm telling him this same story, and he was like, "Oh, word! I would have loved to seen how that looked. Like he would have fucked with it, right? He would have fucked with the painted ears and shit." But Dove's like, "Nah, he would have fired you if he would have saw that." So it's just a funny thing of like we showed up with the paint. Dove's like, "Yo, you guys need to."
I want to ask a couple questions on that, but I want to ask you about because you just casually dropped when I'm with Ye in Italy, and for most people that's like, and this is why I have so much respect for you. For most people, that's like the highlight of their life, and that just becomes their identity. I did that, and for any young creatives who are watching this, I used to work in the music industry, and I think this is very important. Brother is a great example of being a human being. And we have to understand that the people we love and the people who influence us and the people we look up to as kids and we see them on stage, they're still human beings. And I think, you know, that it's so I don't know the word scary almost how many people try to attach to someone like a tick. And I have like endless respect and praise for how gracefully you took that opportunity and how uh like you didn't let it wear off on you any type of way because just because this person's in a lot of power, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that he can necessarily grab you and bring you right there, you know? So can
Yeah,
you tell us a
yeah.
little bit about when you just said you're in Italy with Ye, like how do you go from the kid with paint on your ears and Dove is like, what are you guys doing to being one on one with Ye in Italy?
I worked hard, bro. I worked hard in that time because um the first few days in LA, we were quite literally sweeping the floor in the atelier, right? But that shit, like, you know, how you do one thing is how you do all things, right? So sweeping the floor, I made that bitch. It was the cleanest floor you'll ever see, right? And I remember we were sweeping like these stairs that nobody walked. There was plastic covering the stairs, so I knew nobody was gonna walk on these stairs. But Dove just came and said, "Yeah, sweep these stairs." I took my time on those stairs, right? And then once because it was nerve wracking. I'm gonna be real with you. It was very nerve wracking in a sense of the anticipation of the possibility of Ye walking through the door, right?
Mm.
I will not fake the funk. Like the anticipation killed me. Um, and it was about a week before he pulled up. So we were sweeping floors, but then I, I peeked my head out a little bit, and then I just looked around and thought, okay, Dove now asked me to organize the library, right? Me being me, of what this library can be in my eyes and my perspective, right? Okay, so Dove asked me, just on some busy work, organize this library, right?
Mm.
Because there's real creation happening in the studio. There's like 20 fucking designers. There's a political team. It's a vastness of creation going on. And Dove's just like making sure I'm out the way, but I'm available if need be, right? So he tells me, I looked at the library. Are you with me? I'm gonna create an encyclopedia or a painting of what this library can be.
Mm.
And it's gonna be a whole new because the colors are here. But it's not a symphony yet. So I'm gonna make this library a symphony. I'm gonna make it a very free flowing smorgasbord of ideas that anybody who walks in here, no matter what, you're gonna walk in here, you're gonna find something beautiful because I'm gonna cultivate that, right? I took that approach to everything I did because once I did the library, I remember Dove came in, he was on FaceTime. And this is maybe my third day there. I was in the Playboy section of the library, and it was a big section, right?
Yeah.
But I was opening up the Playboys, and the colors, they were like vintage Playboys, and the colors were so beautiful that I literally pulled about 20 to 30 Playboys off the shelves, put it on the floor, and made this whole painting, right? And I remember Dove, I thought to myself, damn, he might fire me right now because I might look a little creepy because I'm admiring this painting and it's just a bunch of like genitalia. It's just, but the colors are gorgeous. And I remember it was so cool to me because Dove came and he stood by me and he showed whoever he was on FaceTime with. He was like, yeah, this is Yeezy internship right here. And he shows the painting. And then he just like taps me on my shoulder and walks away. And I'm like, oh, lit. So I can just be free. And so then, bro, by the grace of God, I found two tiny quart-sized buckets of paint, right? It was like this beautiful pastel blue and this beautiful yellow.
Wow.
And I found canvas. So I just said, okay, I can't stop being who I am just because I'm in this place. So I'm just going to be me. If I get fired, if I get let go, so be it. God's will. So I just started painting. I remember throughout the day, I'm just painting and, like one by one, all the designers, they kind of just hover over me and look. Some ask me what I'm doing. I'm just like, oh, I'm just painting. Nobody
Mm.
says shit to me. Like nobody tells me to stop. And that moment changed my life as well of like, man, you just have to believe that you're in the right place at all times and
Mm.
act what is on your spirit. Just do what is on your spirit to do and nothing else matters and nothing will hurt you. Even if I lost my job that day, I can take back that experience of like, man, I was just painting. That's the most lit way to get fired, in my opinion. Like if somebody asks me, what did you do to get fired, bro? I was just painting. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like that's beautiful. That's worth it to me. So, anyways, I say all that to say, um, I'm organizing fabric one day in the middle of the studio. Right, it's a big warehouse space. I'm in the middle. Everybody's around doing their thing. Sewing machines are going, music's blasting, whatever. And I'm the same approach. I'm organizing fabric, but I'm putting the colors in different places because it just didn't sit right with me. I'm folding them. I'm rolling them instead of folding them. I'm really making a painting, right? And I remember I was so engulfed in what I was doing that I didn't realize for a good amount of time, maybe about 10 or 15 minutes, that Ye was standing right over me, watching me do this, right?
Wow.
And it wasn't until like I heard somebody call him and he like said something that he's like maybe 3 feet away from me, but looking at me do this shit. And he doesn't say a word to me, right? I continue doing it, and then he leaves. He leaves for the day. He wasn't even there. But then I get a call from Dove that night saying Ye wants you to pull up to his hotel and do like some fit modeling shit. So I pulled up the next day. I fit model for Ye for I think it was I don't know 3 or 4 days that we did that in a row. And on the
Had you had a conversation with him at this point?
no, not at all. He would ask me a few things like, what do I think about this T-shirt? Or you know, how he would ask me, how would you wrap this shirt around your head if you just had to like without looking, how would you do it? Um, that was the extent really of our interaction. Like we were together for hours, you know, but we didn't talk, right? He would just ask me some shit pertaining to the clothes, you know, and that is how that week went. Um, but I remember, you know, I left after the fourth or fifth day doing that, and the next morning I get a call from it was either Nas or Moa that and I it was like an all-nighter too. I was up all night. I was tired as shit. I was dead. And
Mm.
I think it was Moa called me and said, "Yo, I need you to bring all of my luggage because they were staying in the same hotel as Ye, bring it to this airport because we're going to Japan." And
Wow.
I'm like, "Fuck." Okay, so I pulled up to the hotel, got LA traffic and shit. And I'm like, quite literally, it's the most tired I've ever driven in my life. Like I'm probably looking like a tweaker to Moa at this point, but I'm telling her like, yo, I've literally been up for 36 hours now. Like this is
And
a
this
crazy
is the
time.
same sleep cycle where you first went to Ye's hotel and took those pictures?
No, this is like the fourth
Oh yeah,
day
few.
that I've been at, but it's yeah, it's like it's the same day where like we finished taking pictures. And then I get a call at like 6 a.m. from Moa saying, "Yo, I need you to go pick up my luggage from the hotel, pick me up here, take me to the airport." Yeah, I'll get off Wi-Fi to see if that's better.
Okay, well,
Nah, so I got the call that I'm taking Moa to the airport because they're going to Japan.
ah,
I'm not going to Japan at this. Like I'm still the intern fit model. Nobody's really, in my opinion, like nobody really. You know, I'm being helpful and shit. I'm
mm,
definitely useful in this moment, but I'm not going to Japan. I'm not on the itinerary for this go around, right? So I'm a little heartbroken about it, but I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna pack up Moa's stuff and I'm just gonna get her there safely. Like I'm not tripping, right? And Moa's really kind. She's a really sweet person. And so I drove her there. She was grateful. Um, dropped her off, went back to the crib and slept, right? Slept for like 8 hours. I was dead. And then went back to the factory that day because, you know, they needed like a lot of their music stuff taken to LAX. It was just a lot going on, right? The move, it was they were moving. Um, so then that next morning, I took some like I took it's such a crazy thing, but I took his ASR
hmm,
10, you know, like his personal like labeled ASR with the
wow.
tape on it. And I'm just like, bro, what a beautiful thing. And I felt so grateful that that responsibility was given to me because I just thought like, bro, I really care, but I'm not geeked that it's his. I just really care that this gets there safely because
Mm,
this has the ability to like create some beauty. So let's run it. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do it. Take it to LAX at like 5 a.m. The guy that we took it to was super kind as well. I forgot his name, but he's a really kind guy. Um, and then yeah, went back home and then had to be at the factory the next morning. And me and Liam were there till I don't know 10 or 11. Then we drove home, and I'm just getting in bed around 1 a.m. And I get a call from Dove, who's in Tokyo. He's like, "Yo, Ye wants you. Ye wants you in Japan."
mm,
And I say, "I'm geeked, right?" But on the phone, I'm just like, "Ah, oh, beautiful. Thank God." Hang up the phone, get a text from Dove with the itinerary. You have to be at LAX the next morning, flying to Japan. And I get to Japan on July 1st, 2023. My birthday is July 3rd, 2023.
wow.
And I get there, and it's such a trip because nobody even acknowledges that I'm there for 2 days. I'm just in the hotel. Nobody even acknowledges that brother's in Japan. And I'm just thinking, like, damn, what the fuck do I do? Do I call Dove? Do I
Like you're just
call,
sitting in your
like, what
room.
do I do? Sitting in my room because I don't want to go out and
Yeah.
miss a call and have to be somewhere. Shit. So I'm just in the room. Um, But on my birthday, I don't tell anybody that it's my birthday. I'm just like super grateful that I'm in Japan for my birthday. That's the most lit shit ever. So I'm in Japan on my birthday, and I get a text from Dove saying, "Yo, pull up to Ye's hotel," because I'm not staying at the same hotel. Um, so I pull up, and I'm wearing these gloves that I got in LA, and I go up to Ye's hotel room, and it's just like it's so beautiful. It's casual and shit. It's like the first time he really acknowledges me in a sense of like not just ask me about the clothes. He looks at my gloves. He's like, "Yo, those are fresh." Like he says verbatim, "I need you to go around Japan and get me that shit." And I'm like, "Say less." Like I've never been to Japan, but I'm gonna find that shit. I'm confident.
Brother takes Japan.
So yeah, so I end up spending the next couple weeks, he just put me on the task of going and finding just beautiful shapes, and a lot of that is what you see now with the new collection, especially I don't take any credit for it. It's just again just the space and time. The new collection he just dropped that he continues to drop. I'm so in love with it because the price point, the shapes, the colors, the influence that it pulls from. I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of their team for like putting this together because it's a long time coming, and I understand the motion that it's required to complete something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of the colors, a lot of the shapes, him and I really we exchange ideas a lot in that time that I see now that is being delivered to the world, and I'm only grateful for that. Even though I've seen no um, monetary return from that, it really doesn't. At a point in the beginning, I felt like, damn, that it would be nice if I had some bread from that. But then that became really lame to me. That thought I had to remember, the magic Ye gave me when I was 10 years old, seeing him on stage, and I just thought, wow, what a beautiful time that we
Yeah.
collided, right? And people get to feel those feelings. Like I haven't bought any of those clothes, but I could just imagine. Like I saw some girls when I was just in LA wearing one of the leather jackets, the pleather joints, and I'm just like, damn, that's fresh as fuck. Like I really love that jacket, and it's affordable. It's $60, and but she's in LA proper right now, where right next to her somebody's wearing Celine and shit, but it's like you can't tell the difference. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, so yeah, I say all that to say like the Japan time was really just me soaking up. Like that was my fashion school because we had prototype designers, Laura and Colin. We had Kitty, and she's a brilliant designer, and we had so many people who had so much knowledge in fashion. And I'm just trying on the clothes every day, in the studio, but I'm able to soak up that conversation, soak up the energy, and just really learn. It was the fastest, most riveting fashion school that anybody's ever been to. I'm grateful to share that. Um, and so I was able to retain the language, but still nobody asked me to give an opinion. I was just there. I was in the cut, which I was grateful for. So fast forward, we were in Japan for about a month and a half, and then Ye ducks off to Italy, to Florence. And for whatever reason, Dove and I were the only two from that first wave that got to go to Italy.
Wow.
The day after, and at that time, Dove and I really, developed a relationship, a trust, and I helped him a lot. Just he's so brilliant and has so many things going on at once. I just helped him kind of, you know, ease him a little bit, and also just like organize thoughts with him. It's all of his thoughts, truthfully. Like I never really gave him any organic thoughts of mine. I just helped him organize where he was going in a small way, because he's so brilliant. um I think he really enjoyed that and really appreciated it, so he might have advocated for me to go to Italy. I don't even know if Ye really wanted me in Italy at that time, but anyways, I got to go. And then that's when shit started to change. It's like designers weren't really coming in too much anymore. And Ye was asking me questions, about clothing. And he came in one day with the shirt that the designers made the day prior. And I had on the same shirt, but I cropped it and I cut the sleeve off, all the seams, all the shit, right? And Ye was like, yo, I want my shit to look like that. So one of the pattern makers cut his shirt, made it look like mine. And when he was leaving the studio that day is when everything changed. He was like, yo, brother, come with us. So I hopped in the Sprinter. We checked out like some stores he was looking at to maybe do a installation for Yeezy, and we still weren't talking a lot, but he just like allowed me in a little bit to just see what the day to day life is like, and I was really moved by that because he's one of the most famous people on planet Earth, and I know that I have a good intention and good spirit, and I love him, and I love, I don't have any ill intention for anybody, but he doesn't know that. And so he's trusting me just to be around, right? So I'm mad grateful about that. And so that day ended, and the next day he sends me a text. He's like, "Yo, do you want to go to this concert tonight?" And throughout the experience, like there's parties and shit going on, and I never pulled up because I just wanted to be looked at as like I'm not here for the party. I'm here for like the experience of creation, right? So I always did a good job to separate that, and there's nothing wrong with being a part of the party, but I separated that for me specifically. And so again, like all big decisions in my life, I'll call my mom, and I call her and I say, "Yo, should I go to this concert with Ye?" And she said, "Yeah." So I pulled up to this concert with Ye. We go to the Steve Lacy concert in Ireland.
Hmm.
Um, And bro, like, there's no rhyme or reason as to why, but I'm on a private jet with him, private jet with him and Oz and Dove, and I'm just like, it hasn't. I can care less about the private jet. It's just the time of like, bro, this is what magic gets you. Like, that's a beautiful life to, and all walks of life are beautiful, but it's just the experience I'm having of like, yeah, that must be pretty lit to be able to see Steve Lacy's performing in Ireland. Let's just get the jet and go. That's a beautiful feeling, right? And I had the opportunity to experience that. Um, but we pull up to the concert. It's so funny. We pull up to the concert, and I'm thinking like, damn, this is lit. We're about to see Steve Lacy. Like, he just dropped a new album and shit. And yay, like the Steve Lacy's closing out the show, so all like the stands with food and drinks, they're all closed, right?
Hmm.
Ye looks over to me right when Steve gets on stage. He's like, "Yo, I need you to go get me some coffee." And I'm like, damn. So I'm definitely not gonna see the show because I don't know where the fuck I'm about to find some coffee. But all right, aye aye. Luckily, I had to. That's the only time I ever dropped Gay's name when I was with him to anybody that wasn't in the team because I was desperate. I went up to one of the stands like a like a far walk away, and I'm like, "Yo, bro." It's a young kid, so I'm thinking like he's gonna help me out. I said, "Bro, I'm with Ye. He's watching Steve Lacy's show. I need you to get me some coffee." And he like looked at me. He's like, "Bro, what the fuck are you talking about?" And I like had a hood on at the time, so I take my hood off and I'm bald as shit. I showed my shoes. I'm like, "Bro, I'm with Ye." And he's like, "All right, word, got you." And so he gets me some coffee bar. I run the coffee back. I feel like that was a very anointed, like guided thing because I feel like I could be making this up, but I feel like Ye was just saying, can you make shit happen, bro? Like, can you just make shit happen? And by the grace of God, I made some shit. I got some coffee in a time where like coffee was very scarce. So
That's crazy that you
that,
actually got it.
yeah, but that that rolls into the next day where it's such a fucking crazy thing. Like we're on the jet, we get back to Italy, nobody's talking at all. We hop on this Sprinter van, and it's a very small one to where like there's two rows facing each other in the back, right? And I'm a very tall human being, and Ye's sitting right in front of me, so our knees are like touching and shit. And I'm just like trying not to make eye contact. And bro, it's like nobody's talking about anything, and then all of a sudden Ye looks at me, he's like, "All right, so show me some references on your phone." Or no, no, no. First he says, "Brother, if you had to teach somebody how to dress in a uniform, how would you demonstrate that?"
Hmm.
And bro, I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck do I answer that question? Who knows how to answer that question, right? Like I can show you how I dress, sure, whatever, but I don't know how to articulate that, especially when my knees are touching you right now. You know what I mean? Like how do you expect me to do that? Um, but luckily he looks at me, he's like, actually, he asked me what like it's so crazy. He asked me that, but then he says, you know what, never mind. What's your father like?
Wow.
And I'm like, Okay, so we just started talking like it's four of us in the sprinter, but then him and I just started talking about family. Um, yeah, just like some real person stuff, you know. Um, so that was the conversation. We didn't talk about clothes at all. And then that same day, we went to his hotel. Everybody unloaded their stuff. Ye had a meeting like as soon as we got there, and I'm just sitting in the lobby because I'm tired of shit. I didn't sleep the whole time on the jet. We had to be up at 5 a.m. The whole shit. I'm just sitting in the lobby chilling because I my hotel is like a couple miles away. I'm just chilling, right? And it's serendipitous because Ye finished with his meeting and he sees me in the lobby, goes and says something to I think Justin the boy at the time, and then comes back to me and he just sits next to me. And we ended up spending like 4 hours that day just talking. We were under a tree. It's the funniest shit ever. It's some real Ye shit. We were under a tree, and this is about 3 hours into our conversation. He looks at me. He's like, he just starts laughing. I'm like, "What's good?" He says, "You're always gonna remember this time you sat under a tree with Ye." And he starts laughing again. Like he had this way of looking at of zooming out and thinking like, oh, I bet brother's freaking out hanging out with me. And he's right for sure. But then it's hilarious because knowing Ye and that what can be perceived as egotistical thing, it's just it was so funny to me that he had the foresight to be like, you're always gonna remember this, and I will. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not even an ego thing. I'm telling you about it right now because it's a very core, beautiful memory that I have, you know?
Mm,
But from that day, to bring it all back, from that day on, for about 2 months, he allowed me to express in shapes and colors and all this shit. And he really trusted me to do that. And I played a very pivotal or just a strong role in what you guys or what the world got of that black dog, the gosha, the heather, this gray, white, this ash. Like we that was a thought for us. So that led to SONE, and SONE was just a further exploration to those shapes. I hope that brought it all back.
yeah, it does. I mean, that's such a beautiful story. It's so amazing how like we got from that glow in the dark tour to that because the, I said to you I think before we started the stream how important inspiration is to me, and
Mm,
I'm certain that you will, have that impact on people and have that, it's not a matter of competition. Whatever Ye's role is as a leader, is what it is. But I'm so focused on this race of life. The analogy I told you once of like, I feel like the people who are pushing us forward, they're running and running and running, and everyone's just trying to bring them water. Everyone's just trying to bring them water, and it's like, bro, you got to pick up the baton. And I know that like
mm,
you are one of those people for us who will, and that experience, that God put on your path is like you said, the craziest school anyone gets to go to. Um, I want to get into
yeah.
SONE in a moment.
Mm,
One story I think is really great um, is when you were
mm,
telling me about the execution of the seamless tee that didn't have the reinforced edges.
mm,
And basically, the way I remember it is everyone was telling him no.
mm.
Can you just describe that beautiful moment for me?
Yeah. So the pattern for this t-shirt, and I had no knowledge of what a pattern even was, but the pattern for this shirt, the one that I'm wearing currently, is if you ask a kid to draw a t-shirt, you get that square, boom, 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 right? That's how a kid who maybe isn't the most artistic in drawing would, especially like me. That's how I would draw a t-shirt, right? Just the sleeves and the body and that's exactly what this shirt is. So it's a very childlike expression and way of doing a t-shirt, right? Um, and again, I was the perfect person at the time to help him with that because I had no way to say no because I had no knowledge of how to say no. And a lot of people that he brought in, especially when we were expressing the raw edges to everything, the hem, the neck, like this neck, so many people. I witnessed tell him it's going to rip. Like it will rip every time you put it on, but they weren't wrong. They just weren't all the way right. Like you just have to cut the hole large enough for a human head. Like just it will fit. You know, it will fit and it won't rip every time you take it on or off. You just have to achieve the right proportion. That's it. So it's it's the most adolescent childlike way to create clothing, but it simplifies it. It makes it feel so free. You know, one of the biggest compliments you gave me was you felt like the clothes got out of your way as a
Mm.
human. They like you weren't wearing clothes, they just got out of your way. They were clothing you. I think that's the best thing that I could ever achieve with clothing is just to clothe you and not be on you. Like you're not wearing it. I'm just clothing you. You know, I
Mm.
think that's a really beautiful thing to do. And I believe that we achieved that for sure. I think Yay really steering that ship, you know, because people can say whatever they want to say about Ye and like you know, I've heard so many times music specifically about, you know, he has all these producers in the room and he's not pressing the buttons. But Ye is an absolute orchestrator and there's nothing that happens out of his camp or his space that he didn't directly, you know, pull the, you know, really shape it, you know.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I mean that's something I'm a big proponent of, fan of, is collaboration over competition. And
mm,
the it is such an important role, maybe the most important, to actually assemble, be
mm,
the person who's able to get all these different ideas in the room and give them the space. That alone
mm.
is an act of creation. Like that space you're in Italy, that space you're in Japan, that is a creation in itself. um
Yeah.
but yeah, man, that's so beautiful. So from there, and this is where I find you. And it's funny because for the people who know the lore, when Yeezy becomes a free brand, when they leave Adidas and Gap and all that, they have their first
Mm,
release, and the only thing on the site is Brother. It's like a bunch of pictures of Brother wearing the clothes, modeling them, and yeah. So when I found you through SONE, probably just through like a repost, I remember your Instagram was just like, I found it through Digital Nas, and your Instagram was just these random pictures of like nature. It was this photography, and it was really abstract. And I remember immediately thinking like, this is crazy, like this is fire. And I remember thinking like, how did Digital Nas come across this guy? And I start
mm,
engaging with the clothes somewhere around that time. I kind of pieced together. I remember I had my suspicions. I was like, wait, is this brother that's like that brother? Like, because I was big in like the communities too, and you were such like a lore of just like what brother, and then I find out your family calls you brother, like that's actually who you are. Um,
mm.
was so amazing. But so yeah, SONE is kind of where you went after that, where you turned it. Oh, sorry to ramble, but I got one more
No,
thought I
don't
want
be
to get
sorry.
off.
You're fine.
So in our talks about kind of how you guys separated and moved on, this is something that in my own life comes to mind a lot. I have an insane amount of clothing, like thousands of pieces. And it taught me so much about like love, because the pieces I love the most, I was so scared to wear. This has folds in it because it's in a storage bin because I don't want to wear it because I don't want to get it dirty. So then I'm in a situation where I have all these things I love and I care about them so much, I don't trust myself to engage with them. So I like leave them to the side. And then what I find is I'm like interacting with things that are, you could say, maybe more disposable or whatever. But for me as Sam Tree, and my analysis of the whole journey is, I feel as if even just the way your story is and the way you end up being that person, I think Ye saw it in you and I see it in you, that you're one of those people who's going to pick up that baton and keep it moving. And it's like, I have no doubt, that like it taught me a lot about how there's people who maybe I can ignore in my family. Those like texts that you're supposed to respond to and you just can't. And it's like I guess taught me how good God is. It gave me so much perspective on that because also everyone who works with someone like that is such a hater. And like you're just so full of love, you know, and it's so beautiful and it's a testament. So let's talk
Man,
about okay.
no, that's just really beautiful. I just want to acknowledge that. I'm really grateful that you say that. To the community real quick. The Yeezy community, the the insanity and the beautiful belief that these a lot of people, it's such a vast community that I respect so much. I was in a place, God put me in a place of a loss in 2024, and you were there for me for so much of that. And I remember thinking, because I had a bunch of samples from Yeezy that I remember when we made them and I brought them home with me, I thought, well, I'm gonna give this to my kid one day. I'm not gonna sell these.
Mm,
Um, but I got wrapped in a little bit of an addiction, and I needed the money to fuel the addiction, and so I sold all of those pieces, and I just had interactions with a lot of the Yeezy community that I still to this day will get texts from people that felt like the way that that time was handled wasn't the most respectful, and I agree. But then I say this to say to your point of like these precious items that we give value to. You know, I was close to the actual creation, right? So I understood the precious, the thought and the feeling that went into him. I'm just saying all this to say, like, I don't share the same sentiment of things are precious or valuable and we should be afraid to use them. Like, I actually, and I know that you feel similar because we've had this conversation, like, everything needs to be used, everything needs to be given away, everything needs to have a purpose and a repurpose and a lifetime and an eternity of repurposing. Um, so yeah, I just want to say that for the Yeezy community specifically, like those people who believe in what Yeezy is doing and Ye is doing, you're already in a space of like forward thought. And so I encourage the Yeezy community to start, and this is just like my perspective. I don't want to get killed for this, but be a little bit more kind and be a little bit more free in the thought because you're in a free space of like, man, if you guys saw what has not been released, like not the shit that gets the photos that people release and shit, there's a vastness of shit, piles of clothes that would hurt your spirit to think like, why is that shit not out, right?
mm,
Just know it's the beauty of it. Like someday we will all be gone and maybe those will stay and whoever, somebody might experience that, but it's just not the time for that. And like that actually helps me with my experience as well of like I used to feel when I first got released the first time of like, damn, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it's just not the time for we're not in the time that we think we are all the time. I hope that
mm,
makes sense. A lot of time in that shit.
mm. I think
Yeah.
I think I'm picking that up. We're not always in the
Mhm.
time that we think we are.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny though because I wake up, sunrise, go to hike. I'm at the point where I grab my Margiela hoodie and I can wear that on the hike. I still like when I see the SONE bin, I'm like, fuck, dude, it's too cool. Like it's too good. I can't,
Yeah.
it's but what's so crazy there is that Margiela hoodie retails for 3K, and I got that for like $10, bro. And that's where it's like, you know, the perceptual engineering is crazy.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think it's the freshest shit that both exist. To take it back to our first point of this conversation of red and blue, it's just colors. Like we're not trying to eliminate the 3K Margiela. We need that for the $10 SONE to exist, the $20 Yeezy to exist. Demna had to make the $3,000 leather jacket for Ye to make the $60 leather jacket. It had to
Mm,
happen, right? Yeah, it's all beautiful. Matters.
that's beautiful. Okay, just because
Hmm.
I love this whole story and I appreciate how gracious you are with your time. Give me the
Yeah.
kind of rundown of post Yeezy, and you know, let's go through that. Where do you end up after working with Ye one on one out of nowhere as a baseball coach on a whim, showing up, ears painted? Like, what do we do after that? You know, and what's it like? And if you're comfortable with it, you know, try to express like the emotions and ups and downs because I find a lot of it very powerful.
Yeah, so the initial when I was released the first time, because I've been fired twice from Easy. The first time it hurt because the way it went down, it was I even at the time, I'm so grateful the way I handled it because I didn't take it personal. I was more hurt because I can tell I was receiving something from a very hurt person at the time, you know, and that's the furthest I can go because I really don't know what was happening with him at the time. Because I spent time with him, but I wasn't there when he goes to sleep and shit. I didn't have those types of conversations. Was bugging him out and shit. Um, but I definitely took like the butt end of that time. I feel like, and I feel like a lot of other people might have that same experience. So I'm not special in that area. But I was more hurt thinking of how hurt he can be right now, you know, because I was just the person who took the butt end of it. But um, yeah, so I left Italy. I went to Bali for a couple weeks. I used the company card to buy that ticket.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um,
What was that like?
Bali was beautiful. That it was the perfect antidote as well because you know I was around like fucking the high fashion head, you know, very dense personalities. That's only like yeah, dense personalities. And I got to Indonesia, and those people leave offerings outside of the door every single day. You know what I mean? Like flowers, marigolds outside the door every day. Their
Wow.
shops, marigolds, and it was just like, oh, real life again. You know, people again. And so Bali for 2 weeks, and I get back to the States, and I have a conversation with my brothers. And at the time, you know, we're all you know, we're creative beings. Sebastian's doing music. Isaiah's, you know, is a wizard at everything he touches. And I'm just there, like, you know, going with whatever floats my boat that day. You know, I love expressing in all mediums, whatever it is, conversation. Um, but I pull us together one day when I, you know, was rested, and I said to them, you know, we need to pour this, we need to funnel this, all this, these emotions, these feelings, these thoughts, these expressions, we need to funnel it to one thing. And Isaiah had the name SONE already, which means frequency. And so we thought, okay, let's do it. So that's it's gonna be clothing, music, everything, water, all everything, right? We just okay, smorgasbord, put it in. And so that was such a beautiful feeling because we had something to funnel and we were all with it. And so we started really with the clothing just because that was the energy that I brought to the table. And we thought that could really, you know, draw the most attention the quickest because we were planning to, and we did it. Every time we released a video with clothing, we had the music or we had the tech that we were working on. We were hinting towards the future. This was not just a clothing company. This was a full scope creative entity of just thoughts and beauty that we think that the world wants and needs. But the clothing was the initial thought of again to get us in people's eyes, and it did that. And you know, it was I'll give all the credit in the world to Yeezy at that time because it was just an extension of what we were doing at Yeezy. Um, I just wasn't satisfied because this was the Gosha didn't come out yet. This was January 2024 when we released or when we were doing our first thing. And then I saw the Gosha and I came back for that time and helped with that release, did the website, whatever, shot for the website and designed the website at all. But I wasn't satisfied with how things left at Easy. So I wanted to continue expressing those shapes because I felt like that was the truth. So that's how you get sewn. That's how you get the birth of sewn clothing, those first shapes. But then, you know, again, we don't have the cult following, but if you see what's in my phone of the sewn archive ideation future shit, it's like, bro, why did you guys not do this? You know, but
Yeah.
again, time, you know, it wasn't the right time. You know, that whole year, going back to the addiction thing, like I fell into that after. a breakup with Sebastian and Isaiah, and just a separation, really. And so it all bleeds into itself, man. Like the shirt led me to the breakup. The breakup led me to the addiction. The addiction made our friendship stronger to where we're here today. So again, how we were talking earlier of reflection, it's just been one beautiful experience, a lot of hurt, an extreme amount of hurt, extreme amount of pain, extreme amount of heartbreak, but also like the most freeing experiences.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're caught up on who is brother, on the beautiful story of your life, and you
Child of God. Brother's a child of God and trying to be a decent human being.
that 5-year foreign bar of, I'm not a product of my environment. I know God's producing it. Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
crazy. Spaz on the whole verse.
Um,
Spaz.
if you'll allow me, and you will because you're wonderful. Um,
Thank you.
I love this freedom. Let's both take a moment, if you will, like close
Mm,
your eyes and try to
mm.
visualize where and what you want to be offering in no timeline. Just vision your higher self. Try to really tap into that, and breathe into that, and feel with that. And let's both do that and pull from it. Anyone watching, try to visualize the highest version of yourself, the highest good, the version, the clip that you want to be your mom's final memory of you. What is that supposed to be? Take your time in the space, feel it out, take some deep breaths, and whenever come back, describe some of the imagery, describe some of the feelings that you are in.
Yeah. So, I have anxiety saying this because, I've had this experience where I got into a physical altercation with one of my brothers about this. And one of the things we argued about this night was um, I was explaining or expressing that I feel like man is only love. And I mean man and women, just mankind, okay, is only love. And I mean that exactly how I'm saying it. We are only love. Okay. We're confused when we're at war. We're confused when we have hatred. We're confused. We are misguided, right? We have a virus. So I expressed that night that we're only love. And then, my brother asked me, well, do you want to be followed? And I said, if I'm being followed, I want to lead them to God, to Jesus. If they're following me, it's a byproduct of me following God.
Mm.
It's not because I'm taking them anywhere. It's because I'm on my way back. And if I hope there's a shit ton of people following me and ahead of me, and we're all going back to the place. But that's not the point of being followed. It's a byproduct if I'm going in the right direction.
Mm.
So when you ask that, I just want to be a good family man. I want to be a father one day. I want to be a good son to my father on earth, my father in the sky in heaven. Um, and I want to reflect the beauty that is already on earth. There's nothing that I can create that's more beautiful that's already created.
Mm.
I just want to reflect it.
Wow.
So I want to be a mirror. That's what I want to be. I want to be a mirror. I want to be a really clear, really clean, always beautiful mirror to the beauty that exists. That's it, man. And if it's on a stage or if it's in front of children, if it's in front of the camera like we're doing, then I'll just continue to be a mirror. I have no preference. I just want to be led to the place.
Wow. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. There's so much it's almost like I feel like maybe my efforts to be like hollowed in order to be a vessel. But there's so much where you say stuff and it's like exactly on par, on key with like where my head's been at. Because
Hmm.
it's very, let me get these words right. Being like a vessel is something that I think is very um serious to call upon. It's like Lauren Hill said, everyone wants to be used by God, but sometimes being used by God is getting beaten and getting kicked, and showing that person grace and showing that person mercy. And that idea of like the pilgrimage, almost like the group journey, that's exactly where my head's been at, of fostering that narrative to a place where we recognize that if we're idolizing anybody, we're in the wrong. And on that same note, to judge, a brother or a family member as we are all family is like misguided. Because if we are truly on this path, and you want everyone to get along on it, the kind of mission, I feel like, is to get everyone in there, get as many people as possible, and also recognize when we're straying from that path and when we, get distracted or fall to it. So just like that responsibility, because I can feel and see and recognize that it's not a ploy, it's true, and you embody that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much else to say on that one.
Thank you for saying that. Hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Oh
What
man.
else, my friend? What else you got?
I mean, it's been an amazing stream. You've been very gracious with your time. I want to
Mm,
think of like a closing note. Well, I'm going to think of a final question for you, but this is something I want to start asking everyone who comes on stream. Uh,
okay,
so you're the fourth person for this one. What
beautiful.
would you like to see out of Sam Tree TV?
Mm, clarity, clarity in the sense of since I've known you, and even the most recent, when you started using the call home song for those videos that you were doing in the nature and all these raw edits and cuts, I see where it's going. Um, what I mean by clarity is give all the information. Even if it's like a 30,000 minute long video with 1.5 billion edits, just give all the information. Make it as long form as possible if need be, or short form, whatever you feel is right for you. But just give all the information. Like if you're gonna be someone who is already reflecting what's going on in the world, like you tell us about the chat gpt shit, you tell us about all these things that you have knowledge to, just give all the information of quote unquote both sides,
Hmm.
and the benefits of either one, because what I'm going to strive to do as well is whatever I create, it's going to be not everybody gets a trophy inclusive thought, but everybody's included in some way, shape, or form. Of like, I'm not making music because I feel like Cardi is distorted and he's fucking up the children. Do I think that? Sometimes. But I'm not making music to combat Cardi. Like that shit, I want to be in the stadium next to him, God willing, if that's ever a thing, just like with a tunnel going back and forth.
Yeah. Bro,
You know what I mean? Like
my
people
ex
like
used to argue with me so much. She like would always say Cardi is demonic. Like, how can you listen to this? How can you say you're a Christian and listen to this? And I was like, did you read the Bible? Like,
did you
Jesus
read the
would
Bible?
love Playboy Cardi, and he loves
Jesus
everyone.
would have hugged Jesus would hug Playboy Cardi, and not even like just but like taking Cardi out the conversation. Like the devil is trapped in a frozen lake, right? Is what Dante wrote.
Wow.
Okay. the lake was created because the devil was flapping his wings too hard, right? And created it, and it turned the water into ice or whatever. And I have this thought of like, okay, so where was the devil wanting to go, flapping his wings so hard? Back to heaven
Yeah,
is what I thought,
yeah.
what I think, right? And so it's like, bro, even the devil can be prayed for, you know? And but I say that to say like Cardis of the world, anybody, whoever, every walk of life does not matter. Like there is nothing that is bad. There's nothing
Mm,
that is absent of light. You know, there's a spectrum, sure, for sure.
mm,
But 11:59 midnight, right, is considered night. It's the closest to the day as well.
mm. Night
It's
is
a new day.
darkest just before dawn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on the thing you said about all the information in both sides, that was great. This is a
Mm.
great moment. I'm going to document it. That's there's a decision I've been deciding on because it's controversial. But I'm going to do it and I'm going to start filming it tonight. I'm going to try to get it out tomorrow. It's a series called Red vs. Blue, and it's where I'm going to argue with myself on the A word, on immigration, on all of these topics. And it's like the first song I'm gonna drop is called "Let Me Be the Light," and it's like, can you just help me be the light when all my words get in the way, when all the words they're trying to say, like that perspective, I think is really refreshing, and it's pretty unique as well for you to consistently point out that it's harmony that we're striving for. Just because we see something, just because you feel like your music is pure, that doesn't mean, oh, everything that's out, I need to put that down or whatever. It's like that harmonious perspective is beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm working on this album right now called Water. And it's a lot about drugs, but even more about Jesus, right? But I'm currently, while doing that, while expressing this album, I'm not on any drugs, but I'm reflecting this experience of being on drugs. So it's like I can't pull from that. I can make an album about drugs if I never did drugs before. You can do that and shit. It just
Mm.
won't be felt, in my opinion. But I'm making an album about drugs while not being on drugs, but I had that experience. So it's like who I am that already. I am bad and good. I am all of those things. I am just me. I'm brother, you're Sam, red and blue. Like the shit you got on your wall, man. I did that. My nephew was standing right next to me in the first gallery I ever did, and I painted that on the back of a painting that was in the gallery, but I took it off because I didn't like it, and I put that up instead, you know, and red and blue. I met red and blue. What does it say?
It says,
And they were the best of
yeah,
friends.
I don't wish to avoid the dark. It's where I met red, and I met blue, and they were the best of friends.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, and that was 5 years ago that that thought came to me. So this has been something that I've been given in front of me. The thought of red and blue makes purple. You know, it is already a harmony. We just have to remember that it is. So
Mm.
when you ask me something like that, I just have to advocate for that as well because I know that you're capable of doing that. You know, just give both.
Mm. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
I mean, so much love, so much appreciation. This was really a great, great, great stream.
Always, man.
Do you have any
Yeah.
final words for the people? Plug your album. You don't need to though, because I'll be plugging every single day. It'll be on my website. It'll be everywhere.
What's that shit? Thank you for that. What's that shit? I'm on the internet sometimes. When what's Timothy Chalamet? Was he plugging right now? He's plugging.
Oh, Marty
What's the shit that
Supreme.
he's plugging? There you go. Marty Supreme Christmas Day. There,
I'm going with my mom on Christmas Day.
there you go, bro. Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
All right, brother. It's so much love. It's so great to hear from you and see you. And um,
Always, man.
it's, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. But more so, I know that my fans and the people who I'll have the blessing to inspire, this is going to be like one of the best things in the archive right here, man. This is such a beautiful
Mhm.
moment. And this morning, I got a call from my old job and it was really stressful. Up until right before we started, my heart was like so down. Honestly, I felt real. Since I started posting on YouTube, this morning was like the most stressful day, and
Yeah,
it's really great to put this in perspective. So I know I'm gonna rewatch this, and I know a lot of people are gonna find a lot of joy in what you do. Um, and they can. I'll make sure I tag all your links and everything in the description. And
Thank you, my friend.
yeah, man, it's all love. Any final words to the future?
God is the greatest,
Amen.
and everything willing, God willing.
Wow. All right, brother. Thank you.
Love, man. Always appreciate you.
Yeet.
Peace.
Well, that was brother live on stream. I'm gonna play a little brother song for you guys, and I'm gonna go film that red versus blue. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Open up the door for your mother. Holding on the glow of your sister. Running around loud for your brother. Father, hold me closer. Father, hold me closer. Father, hold me closer. Father, open up the door for your mother. Breathing a little loud for your sister. Hold it, let me finish. I've been on a nanny. I've been on to give a few things. My name, I sing it for you louder. My name, I sing it for you louder. My name, you sing it for me prouder. I put the Bentley on, and if I play my song, you play my song when you cry, when you die. I live my life for you. Oh, my life for you. Father, hold me close. There's some shit being channeled right now. Father, hold me close. Give me real love. I don't need clothes. I just need warm. I don't need clothes. I just need warm embrace from. I just need warm embrace from. I don't need clothes. Open up the door. Give me loud. Give me. Sing for me, sing for me, sing for me, sing for me, my baby, sing for me, sing for me, my baby, sing for me, sing for me, my baby, in deep water, feeling real far now, throw me a bone, I need a light pole, I need you.
So much love. So much love to brother. Um, it's so important to remember, have those moments where you really remember God is in control, man. God, it's bigger than our problems. It's bigger than our worries. It's bigger than our fears, bro. God is in control. Tell your family you love them. That's all that matters, bro. I'll see y'all later. Sam Tree TV. Every day. Forever.
Well, you're beautiful, my friend. And, you know, I'm really grateful for your kind words. And beyond words, you've been a great friend to me. So I appreciate, again, you having me here. First official project on streaming platforms. I have one song, 33, currently on all platforms. That's on the album Child, God willing, that releases. I just, I want to give these songs first because they feel like the clothing. They feel like the rawness, they feel like the approach of just not carefree, but so caring and how free it needs to be and be felt, you know? And so I think we've achieved that in these songs and these feelings, and I'm so energized to just finally, it feels like a lifetime, but also it feels like yesterday these songs happened. So I'm not nervous. I'm just really looking forward to that feeling of releasing these songs and letting that be in the world, and then come right back because we have so much music, by the grace of God that's ready. I'm just having patience for the timing, and God's already blessed me with, like, man, I have people that are supporting the process of how do we amplify the release. And to me that's such a, I'm receiving these blessings, and about me, specifically because you're my friend, I've told you I have a difficulty receiving blessings. I have a difficulty accepting help. Um, but in this time, I'm trying to, release that control as well.